On May 30th, 1987, Mike Tyson won the heavyweight world championship. David Bowie kicked off his iconic world tour. And somewhere in New Jersey, a baby was born without any skin on her little toes. This is Michelle, owner of the toes in question. And this is her story. Michelle Kathleen Hall was born with a rare genetic disorder that causes her skin to blister and shear away, leaving painful open wounds. Epidermolysis bullosa, or EB, results from the lack of collagen 7, a critical protein that binds the layers of the skin together. In other words, every time a part of Michelle's body experiences friction of any kind, her skin will shift and a blister will form. However, Michelle did not let this constant threat define her life. She did most everything an ordinary little girl would do, for better and for worse. Though Michelle bravely faced the world each day, a cruel reality would await her every night before bed. Routine bandage changes and bleach baths were crucial to keep her wounds free from bacterial infection. However, they were excruciatingly painful. As Michelle grew older, the consequences of her EB continued to compound. You see, EB is not just a skin condition, it ravages the internal organs as well. Because of the constant threat of injury and infection, EB is incredibly life-limiting, with an average life expectancy of 30 years. Today, Michelle is 29.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I have recessive dystrophic epidermolysis bullosa.
She has become a passionate voice in the EB community, reaching out as a primary resource and advocate for children with EB. Michelle's daily treatments primarily consist of bandaging, pain management, and her chihuahua, Zoe. And for the past 10 years, Michelle has been assembling a team of highly trained professionals to keep her up and running. Greg Roth, occupational therapist. It is said his healing hands are insured for $1 million. He has worked with Michelle for almost 10 years, keeping her hands strong and functional by breaking up the contracting scar tissue that restricts her movement. Mohammed H. Raza, physical therapist. Because of the constant strain on her body, Michelle has developed scoliosis and her muscles are weak. Mo aims to strengthen her back and lower body, which has borne the brunt of her physical traumas. Dr. Marcus Porcelli, hematologist, studied medicine in Bologna, Italy. Because of her many open wounds, Michelle suffers from chronic blood loss, which means her blood count can get dangerously low, and her anemia can render her unable to get out of bed. Weekly iron infusions help counteract the loss of blood, while supplying her body with the iron it needs. Dr. Timothy Letty, second-generation orthopedic surgeon, performs Michelle's recurrent hand surgeries to keep her fingers from completely fusing together. As her body constantly attempts to repair itself, contractures of the scar tissue deform her hands and feet, requiring regular surgical separation. He grafts skin from her thigh to reconstruct the palm of her hand, recreating the spaces between her fingers. The surgery is never an easy decision, as the healing process is long and painful. So far, Michelle has had 8.
That looks good.
Finally, there is Dr. Franziska Ringpfeil, doctor of dermatology. Born in Germany to strict academic parents, Dr. Ringpfeil is the watchman of the largest organ on Michelle's body, her skin. Michelle's chronic open wounds are a breeding ground for bacteria, and she is at increasingly high risk for squamous cell carcinoma, an aggressive skin cancer with a 100% mortality rate.
Shallow erosions and scars, partial fusion of all toes of both feet. No nails. There's an obliteration of the 5th toe. A large ulcer with surrounding erythema on the right medial lower buttock, diffuse erythema, some scarring, and complete obliteration of the umbilicus. Big word here. Obliteration. So Michelle, clinically, there's no evidence of squamous cell cancer, so you're cancer-free for another day. Yay!
But there's another team fighting in Michelle's corner. 3 families on 2 separate coasts with a singular goal came together to found the EB Research Partnership. This is Dr. Alfred Lane, founding chair of EBRP Scientific Advisory Board and leading researcher in a 30-year quest to cure epidermolysis bullosa.
The good news is there are more trials going on today than ever before in the history of EB research. The 2 most promising therapies today are protein therapy and gene therapy. we have successfully been able to genetically correct patient's cells and graft those cells back onto the patient. Protein therapy will most likely be delivered as a bandage. This bandage has tiny little microneedles which go into the skin and painlessly deliver the protein as they dissolve. Clinical trials are rigorous, time-consuming, and expensive. We are in a unique window of opportunity today where we have the science, we have the scientists, but we do not have the money to do the clinical research.
For EBRP to sustain current funding for the next 3 years, they will need $25 million. That figure probably sounds daunting. Maybe I should let Michelle take it from here. She is uniquely qualified.
When we invest in research projects, like for example, Stanford's gene transfer trials, we have the potential to generate additional revenue streams. So if Stanford has a commercially viable breakthrough, EBRP retains intellectual property rights when the breakthrough is monetized. Therefore, a single donation is an investment and has the potential to fund multiples of its original value. Now you may be thinking, EB is pretty rare, and it is, but about 30,000 people in the US alone are affected. And of the 7,000 orphan diseases, 5,400 of them are genetic, like EB. So a breakthrough gene therapy treatment for EB could potentially impact 10% of the population. That's 30 million people. When was the last time you had the opportunity to rewrite history? To cure a disease? Come on, that would be pretty awesome.
They say life is a series of random events. For whatever reason, you're here, today, watching. You could be anywhere else, but you're not. You're here, now. Why do you think that is? On May 30th, 2017, Michelle Kathleen Hall will be 30 years old. But she won't be making a wish. She will be making a promise. To herself, to her family, to every kid like her, to you. A promise to live.